would like to share a couple thoughts that I had this morning about creating a miracle. So there was someone that I was talking to, and I said they were kind of sharing some challenges that they're going through, and I was trying to point their brain toward what's the desired outcome? What do you want? So I said something to the effect of, what do you want to experience instead? And they said a miracle. And I know that they were probably joking, which it was kind of funny. And then it got my brain thinking about, okay, what if they really do need a miracle? What does that look like? And is there a formula for how to create a miracle? And there really is, because I've done it before, and that's where my brain went. So in creating a miracle, it took me back to the law of the harvest and what the soil can teach us when it comes to creating miracles. By small and simple means, great things are brought to pass. Think about planting an acorn seed, and it takes 100 years to go from that seed into a great big tree. And it's just by tiny daily efforts that that tree grows up into a big, huge tree. So the first thing it made me think of was Adam and Eve, and whether or not you believe in the Bible, that it was, spiritual or fictional, whatever, the fact is that Adam and Eve were cast out of a perfect garden that gave them all the food they could ever want into a wilderness that they had to work by the sweat of their brow in order to get their food. So I imagine I have this like little scenario in my head where they're cast out of the garden, they're in the desert, maybe not quite the desert, but maybe they have good enough soil to grow food, and they're like sitting there on a rock and they're looking up, hey God, we're hungry, can we get some food please? And then he points down at the dirt and he's like, yep, it's right there. So he gave them the dirt in order to get food, because he knows what they really needed. What they needed was to learn how to work by the sweat of their brow, not because they were necessarily lazy or anything else, but the effort that is put into work teaches us life lessons that will help us in every aspect of our lives. Helps us with our kids, our family, our relationships. We learn to put in that effort. We learn to find out what is needed right now in the moment. So that first point, just that God gives us what we actually need. They needed bread, they needed to eat, but he gave them dirt, which in my head is kind of funny, but it is also very meaningful to know that God knows what we need. And that also points to the natural system. So the natural system of the soil. The soil teaches us laws, eternal laws that are applicable everywhere through all time for everyone. No matter what color your skin is, no matter where you live, all of these natural laws are universally applicable, and that's what the soil teaches us. The other amazing thing is that our bodies are also a natural system, and they also can teach us, which it can get more complicated, those same laws of those universal laws. So there are 3 stages of creating a miracle, and this goes along with what it looks like to harvest. To plant a harvest, to reap a harvest. So the first stage, of course, is planting the seed. And in order to plant a seed, first you have to know what you want to eat. What do I want to eat in that harvest? And think about this when it comes to focusing on your desired result. Look at the clouds and the sun picture in your mind and look at that sun. What do I want to experience? What would bring me joy? What is that desire inside of me that would fill me up with happiness and excitement and light me up? Kyle and I have been talking a lot lately about the burst of excitement. I don't know what the heck yes, right? That we've been talking a lot about focusing on that very pinpointed source of desire. And the more that you focus on that one thing and go toward it, the more it expands and opens up. So that first stage is planting the seed. What is the hope? What is the desire? What there's a subconscious blueprint, an imprint, something that your heart needs, and that's what you want to find. That's what you want to go toward. What is that desire? And also that desire is different than a have to. The have to can pull you down, but the desire, when you allow yourself to hope and believe, that can give you what you truly need. So for example, when people want sugar, they're craving sugar, they're addicted to sugar, or any other addiction, honestly, there is something underneath that addiction that people are craving. The craving is pointing toward one of the psychological needs that they have in their mind, those chemical needs of my brain needs this, and those are all the subconscious things that keep happening as we crave sugar. So when you focus on this desire of what you truly want, eventually it's going to come back to giving you what you need. So you no longer need that sugar. You no longer crave the sugar. You can find the substitute for the sugar, the thing that's hurting you, the thing that causes short-term pleasure but long-term pain. You can find the healthy substitute to find what's truly going to meet your need. What is that desire? And allowing yourself to hope for that and move toward that. So that's the first stage, is number one. And I like to think of this in Roman numerals. I don't know why, but it makes more sense to me. Stage one, Roman numeral 1, is planting the seed. The second stage, and if you've ever grown a garden or planted or grown anything, you know that stage is the stage of work. Think of this in the seasons. So the spring is typically the season where we plant seeds, and that it's nice and cool and it's enjoyable. And then it comes to the second stage, that Roman numeral 2, the stage of work. Think of summer. Summer is, oh my gosh, in Overton where I grew my garden, it was 120 on average on hot summer days. And getting up at 6 a.m., it was still probably 105. Didn't matter how early we got up, but I still had to get up and go. So the second stage is about work, consistency, diligence, and discipline, even when you don't feel like it. So getting up and doing that thing. So if this is with your body, then you are getting up and exercising, moving your body, doing that thing, even though your brain's like, oh, I'm tired, I don't want to do this. That's when you have the opportunity to have mind over matter. Have your spirit, your higher self, guide you into what you truly want, instead of what that flesh, the weak part of you, is trying to pull you down to sit in being mediocre, being average, just sitting in complacency. Hopefully you can feel that call from your soul, your spirit, that's calling you forward and upward. So that moment to train your brain, and I literally remember this in one of those days when I was in my depressed place. I was laying in my bed. It was time to get up and go water the garden, and I had this FUD going on in my head of, I don't want to get up, I'm so tired, and listen to the words that are going through your head. I'm so tired. And what is that going to do to your body? It's going to make your body feel tired. So this was an aha moment. It wasn't me. I literally had this voice come into my head, tell your body what you want it to do. So I'm like, what do I want to do? I want to get up. My higher self, of course, wants to get up and go out and water the garden. So that's what's calling me forward and upward. So I'm like, okay, tell my body what to do. And I started saying, I'm getting up. I'm getting up. I'm getting up. I'm getting up. I must have said it like 100 times, and literally my body just popped up out of bed. I got up. So my words created the program in my brain that caused the action in my body. And literally that is the power that you have. You are the magic, and you have that power to choose your words, your thoughts. Words and thoughts are the same. Hold on. Your words, your images, and your emotions. And they're all tied together, and they will get programmed in your brain according to how much effort you choose to put into that. So that's stage number 2 is the work. One of the images I like to put along with this is imagine a garden hose, and we have it stretching from one side of planting the seed to the other side of harvesting the whatever we're going for, right? So imagine that we have a bucket of black marbles and a bucket of white marbles, and every day we get to choose which marble we're going to put in. A black marble would represent something that is going to give us a consequence at the other end that we don't want. So when I'm feeling weak, I might decide to eat sugar and put that sugar into that marble, or put the marble into the hose. So obviously it doesn't come out of the other end. Let's say the hose is 6 feet long. It doesn't come out of that hose immediately. This is what the body's teaching us. And let's say one day I'm going to eat good today. I'm going to put this white marble in the hose. Okay, so now there's 2 marbles in there. And I keep making choices and making decisions and making decisions. And let's say I get better and better, and I end up putting 1 black marble in for every 10 white marbles. And then pretty soon I have 600 marbles in that hose, and they begin to come out of the other end. So then I'm getting the results that I have planted, the choices that I have made, the delayed result of what I chose. So this is why it's so hard when it comes to changing and beginning new things, is you have to keep making the right choice over and over and over again till it fills up that whole hose with white marbles, and then you end up getting the white marbles out of the other end, the results that you hope for. So that's one of the images that really empowers me to decide, okay, every day I'm going to make good choices. I'm going to put these white marbles in, the thing that I want. It's not the easy thing, it's the harder thing in order to get the result at the other end that will truly give me what I need. And notice that the sugar is not giving you what you need. It's a short-term gain, long-term loss. And if you need help in what those decisions are, just ask your higher self, that voice within you, is this going to give me what I want in the long term? Okay, and then the third stage. You have the first stage, planting, second stage, work, summer, hot, hard. Okay, now we've put in all the work, we've gone through the whole season, and obviously stage number 3 is the harvest, getting what you want. And as strange as it sounds, some people might struggle with the stage of getting what you want because their brain starts to say, I don't deserve this. I've not done what I needed to do, or whatever. So like there's ways that we get to that harvest stage and we try to minimize the joy that could be happening in the moment. Focus on these words of dance, feast, celebrate, joy. Those words of, wow, I'm actually getting what I want. This is so amazing. And allowing yourself to feel that in your body. This is the reason why we celebrate every week in our classes the 3 key focuses. We're truly going toward pointing our brain toward what we want and celebrating that we're getting it. Because by telling your body you're getting what you want, you're experiencing that joy, you're pointing toward, yes, that's what I want. Brain, that's what we're going for. That's what we want more of. And then you like put it into your body and tell your body, yes, this is what I want more of. And then your brain, of course, we were talking about in the beginning, looking for evidences. That is what it's going to search for and find all the evidences of how we're going to get that more joy. So in the middle of that work season, the most important 3 words you can focus on is compassion, gratitude, and forgiveness. So I forgot to say that in the work season. And why would we do all this? What are we actually getting? There's an internal result of what we're growing. We're growing our character. We're growing all of those things that will help us increase our abilities and become better as people. That increased capacity gives us capacity to do more, not necessarily that it's more work, but at a higher level. We begin functioning at a higher level, we can improve and grow to a higher frequency vibration. Our emotions evolve with us. We begin to feel more gratitude and compassion and forgiveness through all of these stages. And that's what the point is. At least when I grew a garden, I didn't really care about the physical food that I was growing, but I knew inside that I was going to grow as a person. And that's why I did it. That's what was calling me. So, yeah, that is some thoughts that I had about how to create a miracle, and truly being able to recognize that you can have what you want, and you are the miracle. You are the magic that can create that, because you have that power, and only you have that power.